You know that exact moment when you're talking to her, everything seems fine, and then something shifts. Her responses get shorter. The energy drops. You can feel her pulling back, but you're not sure what happened. Here's what I've learned after years of watching this pattern. It's rarely about what you think it is. She didn't lose interest because you're boring or because the conversation died. She pulled away because certain topics hit emotional circuits in ways that trigger avoidance responses before she's even consciously aware of it. Most dating advice tells you to be more interesting, more charming, more engaging. But neuroscience reveals something different. The topics that make us retreat aren't necessarily bad topics. They're topics that activate specific psychological patterns that feel unsafe or draining to connect with. Today, I'm going to decode 5 conversation subjects that consistently trigger pull-away responses, explain the hidden psychology behind each one, and show you what creates genuine curiosity instead. 1. Let's start with something that seems harmless. You mention your difficult boss, the coworker who annoys you, or how much you hate your job. It feels like normal conversation, right? You're sharing your life, being open, creating connection through vulnerability. Here's what's actually happening in her brain. When you lead with complaints about work, you're activating what psychologists call emotional contagion. Her nervous system starts mirroring your stress without her permission. But there's a deeper pattern here. Chronic complaining signals to her subconscious that you see yourself as powerless in your own life. Her attachment system reads this as instability, not intimacy. The psychology here is fascinating. Research on attraction shows that emotional regulation is one of the strongest predictors of relationship satisfaction. When you default to venting about work problems, you're demonstrating that external circumstances control your emotional state. This doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. But it does trigger an unconscious question in her mind. If he can't navigate his work environment, how will he handle relationship challenges? Instead of work complaints, try to shift. Share something you're actively working on or learning, even if it's small. I've been figuring out how to handle this situation with my manager lands completely differently than my manager is impossible. The first shows agency. The second shows helplessness. Her nervous system relaxes when she senses you're in your own power, even when facing difficulties. 2. This one might seem obvious, but the psychology runs deeper than you think. Most men avoid talking about exes because they know it's awkward. But some men do the opposite. They bring up past relationships to show they're experienced or to demonstrate they're over it. Both approaches miss the real issue. When you mention your ex, even casually, you're creating what researchers call cognitive load. Her brain now has to process not just what you're saying, but also the emotional subtext, your motivation for sharing, and how this information affects her sense of safety with you. It's mental work she didn't sign up for. But here's the part most men don't realize. Bringing up past relationships signals that you're still psychologically organizing your life around them. Even if you're saying positive things, even if you're showing how much you've grown, you're revealing that your ex occupies mental real estate. And her unconscious reads this as unavailability, not because you still love your ex, but because you're not fully present with her. The attachment system craves presence above almost everything else. When you reference previous relationships, you're splitting your attention across time and people. She feels it immediately, even if she can't name it. The alternative isn't avoiding the topic forever. It's demonstrating presence. Focus conversations on what's happening between you two right now. Share experiences that don't require her to mentally manage other people from your past. Let your presence speak to your availability rather than your words trying to prove it. 3. Here's where things get psychologically complex. Financial stress is real, and vulnerability can create connection. But there's a specific way that money complaints land in her nervous system that's worth understanding. When you share financial worries early in getting to know someone, you're unconsciously asking her to co-regulate your anxiety about resources. Her brain immediately starts calculating whether this is temporary stress or chronic instability. But more importantly, her attachment system starts wondering if she'll need to manage your emotional state around money moving forward. Research on relationship dynamics shows that financial anxiety creates a specific type of emotional labor. It's not just about the money, it's about the mental energy required to soothe someone else's resource fears. When you share money stress as a conversation topic, you're giving her a preview of what emotional support might look like with you. This doesn't mean you should pretend to be wealthy or hide financial realities. It means understanding that sharing financial stress requires emotional labor from her, and that labor should be earned through connection and trust, not offered as early conversation. The shift here is subtle but powerful. Instead of sharing money problems, share how you think about resources. I'm focused on building something sustainable creates curiosity. I can barely afford rent creates worry. Both might be true, but one invites her into your vision while the other asks her to manage your fear.
4.
This one surprises most men because fitness seems like a positive topic. You're showing discipline, self-care, health consciousness. You might even think it demonstrates attractive qualities like commitment and strength. But here's what happens in her mind when you detail your workout routine or talk extensively about your physical achievements. Her brain categorizes this as performance-based identity rather than authentic self-expression. She starts wondering if you relate to yourself primarily through external validation, gym results, physical appearance, measurable achievements. The psychology here connects to what researchers call contingent self-worth. When your conversation centers on physical accomplishments, you're unconsciously communicating that your value depends on maintaining those accomplishments. Her attachment system reads this as instability because contingent self-worth is inherently fragile. There's another layer. Extensive talk about gym routines often signals that you spend significant mental energy managing your body image. She might start wondering if you'll expect the same focus on physical appearance from her, or if you'll be able to love her body through natural changes over time. The more effective approach is demonstrating physical confidence without explaining it. Move through the world comfortably in your body. Show rather than tell. When fitness does come up naturally, focus on how it makes you feel rather than what it makes you look like. I love how clear my mind feels after a run connects to your inner experience. I hit a new deadlift PR connects to external metrics. Feet. Here's a conversation topic that reveals more than most men realize. When you talk about your Instagram followers, your viral TikTok, your LinkedIn connections, or how many likes your recent post got, you're sharing something that feels like social proof. But her brain processes this information through a completely different filter. Talking about social media metrics unconsciously communicates that you derive emotional regulation from external validation. Her attachment system immediately starts calculating whether you'll need constant reassurance and approval in the relationship. She's wondering if your mood will depend on online feedback and whether she'll need to manage your emotions around social comparison. There's a deeper pattern here that most men miss. Social media talk often reveals that you're living life partially for an audience rather than for your own authentic experience. When you mention how many people viewed your story or liked your photo, you're showing that you think about your life from the outside looking in. This creates psychological distance that she can feel but might not be able to name. Research on authentic relationships shows that partners are drawn to people who seem to inhabit their own lives fully. When your conversation reveals that you're performing your life for others, it suggests you might perform your relationship too, rather than simply living it. The shift is about focusing on experiences rather than metrics. Instead of, my post about the hiking trip got tons of engagement, try that hiking trail completely changed my perspective on the weekend. One shows you living for external approval. The other shows you living for your own authentic experience. Now, here's something crucial that challenges everything normal dating advice taught you. Most relationship guidance focuses on what to do or say to be more attractive. But the real insight is understanding what creates psychological safety versus what creates emotional labor. Every topic I mentioned has one thing in common. It asks her to do unconscious emotional labor, managing your stress, soothing your insecurities, or regulating your emotional state. When this becomes the norm, her nervous system starts to associate you with effort, not ease. This isn't about being flawless or hiding your struggles. It's about recognizing that early conversations set emotional patterns. If you consistently seek validation, comfort, or reassurance, you're training her to see you as work instead of rest. What sparks genuine interest? Conversations that show how you think, what excites you, how you solve problems, or what you notice about the world. These invite her into your mind, not your emotions she needs to manage. A friend used to open up about his stressful job and roommate issues. He thought he was being vulnerable, but when he shifted to talking about books, ideas, and things he observed, women started following up after dates. The shift? He stopped making the conversation feel like emotional labor. Another friend used to share workout wins, but when he talked about how running helped him think clearly, her interest grew. She could connect with his experience, not feel pressured to validate him. Dating isn't about your resume, it's about your presence. If your words ask her to manage you emotionally, you'll seem like a burden, not a partner. The fix isn't perfection, it's awareness. Notice when you're seeking support versus sharing authentically. Regulate your own stress so the conversation feels like invitation, not work. You don't need to change who you are, just how you show up. When you stop making connection feel heavy, it starts to feel like play, and that's where real attraction begins. If this resonates, share your experiences in the comments. And if you want more insights like this, subscribe. This isn't about performance, it's about connection that honors both your truth and her nervous system.